And welcome back to The Wrap. Well, the Obama administration today announced new birth control coverage rules to work around last year's Supreme Court defeat in the Hobby Lobby case. That ruling said some private companies can be exempted from mandatory Obamacare contraceptive coverage on religious grounds. To get around that, the Department of Health and Human Services says women who work for these companies can still get free birth control, but health insurers are now required to pick up the tab. In a statement, Health Secretary Sylvia Burwell says, and we quote, "Women across the country should have access to preventive services, including contraception. At the same time, we recognize the deeply held views on these issues, and we're committed to securing women's access to important preventative services at no additional cost under the Affordable Care Act while respecting religious beliefs." So even if the employer gets a religious waiver, insurance companies will still have to pay for birth control. Is this really a victory for private companies, Rick?
Well, actually, I have a few questions about that. And what I read up on it today, it is clear to me that if a company writes a letter to the secretary and says we have a problem with this on religious basis, they're off the hook, and it will be referred to a third-party health insurance company. I haven't seen anything yet that tells me that the insurance company is going to have to pay for it. It's a question mark in my mind. It doesn't say. I don't know if the government's going to, if the insurance company's going to, or if the person getting the pills are going to. I'm not sure. It is a rational solution. Hobby Lobby made it very clear that in these certain circumstances, this is the way it is. I still like to remind people, I was very, very supportive of Hobby Lobby at the outset.
Stole my next question.
Until I learned that they have investments in their 401k plan in drug companies that are manufacturing the very pills that they refuse to give their employees. So,
a contradiction in contraception.
Yeah.
Interesting. Travis.
Well, yeah, I think it's sad that we have to go to the courts for all this. I mean, there ought to be a better way to resolve it, and there's a lot of unprecedented intervention with this. So I think companies like Hobby Lobby have a right to represent their views, but I do agree there's a lot of mischief going on with how this is going to be administered and insurance and interpreted.
If I can add, because I'm going to get a lot of tweets saying, well, they don't control their 401k. That's not true, number one. The owners were the administrators. And number two, there are funds out there that many churches take advantage of that are absolutely screened to avoid any kind of an investment that would offend their religious principles.
Or why not have a blind trust?
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Very good point. Carl, I think this is going to be, it really sets the table. We've heard this over the last couple of weeks and months where you have a business that has owners that may have religious beliefs that go up against, say, like in Oregon, where a gay couple wanted to have a cake made, or maybe it was a pie, I don't quite remember.
It was cake, yeah.
It was cake, and they lost, and they had to pay a $130,000 fine, crazy. And there was a gag order placed upon that business from even talking about it. So it seems like we hear about cases like this everywhere, every week now, where it's religious beliefs and religious rights versus other rights.
If it was a gay bakery and they didn't want to bake a Christian cake, though, you'd see it wouldn't make news. It wouldn't be a lawsuit. The Christians would just go somewhere else.
I don't know if that's true today, but I take your point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a partisan issue, or maybe not a partisan issue, but I think it's a one-sided issue. And I don't like the idea of the government being able to reach into a private business and tell them they have to buy something or they have to serve somebody. I don't like that at all. If I own a business and I want to...
The problem, though, is then you're saying you don't like the Civil Rights Act.
I don't really.
See, now I will give you this.
Business
when it comes to religious beliefs, there are some differences. I will agree with that.
If I own a business that I built, I want to be able to say who I can serve, what I can serve, when I can serve it. And you know what? If I don't like somebody, guess what? I don't like somebody.
Then we never would have had a Civil Rights Act.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
I'm not.
I think this is what happened. Let's say, using Rick's hypothesis here, right, as far as or hypothetical situation, and you had a business and you didn't want to serve Spanish people. I'm half Spanish, right?
Right.
That would get out so fast.
You'd go to business.
Yeah. Facebook,
it's the
social media.
free
This guy isn't serving a certain sect of people. That would be the end of you.
It would be exactly.
So I say let the free market decide that.
Boom. Say no mo.
Because you're going to set yourself up for failure anyway. For when the government starts setting in, that's where things get a little tricky.
And let us all be warned that really the purpose of too much political correctness is suppression of those ideas. We should have a free market of ideas and allow you to
This is an instance where what you just recommended on the last problem, which is these people have to to get together, because as much as I have supported the rights of same-sex people to be married, and these are rights I believe they've always had, they've just finally been recognized, we have to recognize religious rights that people have.
That's right.
And when the two are in conflict, then both of those groups need to sit down and work this out.
But here's the thing, when Starbucks asked all its customers not to carry guns inside their stores, guess what? I don't go to Starbucks anymore.
No, that's fine.
Because I don't agree with them. So,
Right.
and that's a free market thing.
That's
you know,
right.
like there's no government regulation
That's
there.
true.
They just lost customers.
It's probably good that guns aren't in Starbucks, though, because the service is so slow that I've a couple times I've thought about.
I live in Greenwich, Connecticut. This service is boom.
It's quick.
Really?
You walk in the door, they throw you a cup of coffee.
Wow. It's a matter of
In
resources.
your case,
then.
that's not a terrible idea.
Maybe because I used to carry a gun there.
Yeah, maybe they'll
Just
let
let
me
me
be
out
a
of there.
barista for a day when you're coming.
Yeah.
Anyway, time to move on. But should businesses have to pay for employees' birth control? Interesting question. Why don't you go to newsmaxtv.com/comments. Let us know. We'll read some on the air. It's Friday. We'll have some fun, have a few laughs. Back with more in just a moment.